Today, we walk into darkness. We meet 3 inmates whose cases shocked Texas. A liar who played a hero, a husband who ordered a hit, a mother accused of the unthinkable. Their crimes are different, their fates are the same. This is death row, where the clock ticks louder every day, and the truth is never simple. Texas is the execution capital of America. Since 1982, this state has put more people to death than any other. Right now, 195 men and women sit on Texas death row. Most have been there for decades. Their crimes? Unforgivable, but their stories are complicated. This is a place where justice wears a hood, where guilt is decided by a jury, but doubt lingers in the shadows. Some inmates admit what they did. Others swear they're innocent. All of them waiting for a miracle, for a lawyer, for death. The crimes that send them there are hard to stomach. A child kidnapped and buried in a toolbox. A wife shot dead in her garage. A toddler beaten to death. These acts defy reason, but behind every crime is a person, a past, a motive. What drives someone to kill? Is it rage, greed, mental illness? And can a killer change, or do they deserve to die? Texas says yes, the law says yes, but the answers aren't always clear. Let's begin with our first case. June 28, 2000. A hot summer day in Dobbin, Texas. Population 300. 12-year-old Christina Leanne Neal told her mom she was walking to a friend's house 3 blocks away. She wore jean shorts and a pink t-shirt. Her mom watched her leave. It was the last time she saw her daughter alive. By sunset, Christina was missing. Neighbors gathered with flashlights. They checked barns, ditches, and abandoned sheds. The sheriff called in the search dogs. Flyers with Christina's face went up in every store window. Her parents pleaded on local news, please just bring her home. But one man didn't need to search. Jonathan Green lived less than a mile from Christina's family. He was 38 years old, a quiet man who kept to himself. Neighbors thought he was odd but harmless. When the search started, Green joined in. He handed out water bottles to volunteers. He hugged Christina's mom at a prayer vigil. He even told reporters, "I hope they find whoever did this." All along, Christina's body was rotting inside his home. Weeks passed. The case went cold. Then a tip changed everything. A woman told police Green had been acting strange. He'd burned piles of trash in his yard. He'd built a new padlock on his tool shed, and he'd stopped leaving his house. On July 24th, deputies knocked on Green's door. He let them search. They found nothing at first. Then, a deputy noticed a fresh patch of concrete in the backyard. Underneath it, a metal toolbox, and inside the box was Christina's body. Her hands were tied with speaker wire. Her face was wrapped in duct tape. The autopsy showed she's been sexually abused and strangled. Green was arrested at a gas station down the road. He told cops he'd found her like that in a ditch, but the evidence buried him. Christina's blood was smeared on his boots. Her DNA was found on his mattress. In his yard, police dug up a shovel with strands of her hair stuck to the blade. A neighbor came forward and said Green had borrowed the shovel the day she vanished. At trial, the details got darker. A forensic expert testified Christina had been alive in Green's home for hours before she died. A school notebook found in his trailer had drawings of tied-up girls. Jail guards said Green bragged about his crime. He told one officer they'll never prove it. But the jury took 50 minutes to sentence him to death. And for over 20 years, Green fought to stay alive. His lawyer argued he was mentally ill. They said he heard voices that told him to cleanse the world. In 2012, a prison psychiatrist diagnosed him with schizophrenia. Green claimed he didn't remember killing Christina. He said the voices made him do it. In 2022, Texas set his execution date for October 10, but days before, a judge halted it. Not because of new evidence, not because he was innocent, but because Green's lawyers argued he was too mentally ill to understand why he was being killed. The courts needed time to decide. Was he faking it, or was he truly mind-broken? Christina's family sat through every delay. Her father died of a heart attack in 2008. Her mother passed in 2019. Today, Green waits, still on a death row. He spends 23 hours a day alone. He writes letters to supporters, claiming God has forgiven him. He draws pictures of angels. His legal team keeps pushing the mental illness argument. Meanwhile, Texas fights to execute him. The town of Dobbin hasn't forgotten. Every June, they hold a memorial for Christina. One day, the state will lead him down a hallway. They'll strap him to a gurney. And the last thing he'll see is the same sight Christina saw in his trailer, a flickering fluorescent light. November 9th, 1994. A quiet suburb of Houston. Farah Frada, a 33-year-old mother of 3, pulled into her garage after picking up her kids from swim practice. As she stepped out of her car, a man in a black mask appeared. He fired 2 shots. One hit her chest, the other grazed her arm. Farah died on the concrete floor. Her children screamed inside the house. Police called it robbery gone wrong, but Farah's husband Robert Freda, a former police officer, had a different story. He cried at her funeral. He told reporters, "I'll never stop looking for who did this." But detectives soon noticed cracks in his act. Robert hated Farah. They were in a bitter divorce. She'd gotten custody of the kids, and he lost his job as a cop after assaulting a suspect. Friends said he'd rage about Farah for months. One even told the police he said he'd kill her before letting her take his money. A month after the murder, cops got a tip. A man named Joseph Priestash said Frata hired him to kill Farah. Joseph was just a middleman. He'd connected Freda to the actual shooter, Howard Guidry. The price? $1,000 and a bag of jewelry. The plot was sloppy. Freda had asked multiple people to kill his wife. One refused. Another took his money and vanished. But Joseph and Howard followed through. They stalked Farah for weeks. They learned her routine. Then they shot her in broad daylight. At trial, the evidence piled up. Phone records showed Frata called Priestash 17 times the week of the murder. Guidry's girlfriend testified he'd bragged about the hit. Even Frata's gym buddy came forward. He said Frata asked him, "You know anyone who can make my wife disappear?" But Frata didn't flinch. He smirked during witness testimony. He rolled his eyes when Farah's family spoke. His arrogance backfired. The jury convicted him in 1996. He got the death penalty. For 27 years, Frada fought to live. He claimed police framed him. He said Priestash lied to get a lighter sentence. His lawyers argued the gunman had acted alone, but courts rejected every appeal. Behind bars, Frada stayed defiant. He wrote letters calling himself a political prisoner. He gave interviews blaming the justice system. He even remarried twice while on death row. Farah's family waited. Her sons grew up without a mother, and her father became a regular at court hearings. He told reporters, "Every day this man breathes, it's a slap in the face to my daughter." In 2022, Texas set Farah's execution date for January 10, 2023. His lawyers made a last-minute plea. They said a priest should be allowed to pray aloud in the execution chamber. The Supreme Court said no. On the day he died, Farah stayed cold. His last meal was a bowl of oatmeal. His last words, "I don't say anything." In the witness room, Farah's family watched silently. The real tragedy? Farah's kids. Their mother's death made headlines. Their father's execution did too. And they've spent their lives caught up in the middle. One son told the journalists, "No one wins, not ever." Robert Farah's story isn't just about doubt. It's about entitlement. A man who believed he could cheat justice. A man who died still blaming everyone but himself. February 17, 2007. Harlingen, Texas. 2-year-old Maria Alvarez lay lifeless in her mother's arms. Paramedics rushed to the apartment. They saw bruises on the toddler's legs, arms, and head, bite marks on her back, a gash on her skull. Her mother, Melissa Lucio, sobbed. She said Mariah fell down the stairs 2 days earlier, but the police didn't believe her. Lucio was a 38-year-old mother of 12. She worked odd jobs, she lived in poverty, and her kids often went hungry. Child Protective Services had visited her before, but she had no history of violence. That night, detectives interrogated her for 5 hours. They called her a monster. They said she beat Maria to death. Lucia denied it over 100 times. But after hours of yelling, she broke. "I guess I did it," she said. Those words sent her to death row. At trial, prosecutors painted Lucio as an abuser. They showed photos of Mariah's injuries. A medical examiner said the bruises were from punches. The bite marks matched Lucio's teeth, and the jury took 4 hours to convict her. But after the trial, doubts surfaced. New experts looked at evidence. They say Mariah's injuries could have come from a fall. The bite marks, possibly eczema. The confession, forced. Lucio's lawyers said she was vulnerable. She was pregnant. She'd been abused by partners. She told cops what they wanted to hear just to make the interrogation stop. Witnesses backed her story. Neighbors said Mariah played outside the day she fell. And Lucio's kids said their mom never hit them. One daughter recalled, Mariah cried a lot. She'd bang her head when she was upset. In 2019, the Innocence Project took her case. They found the prosecutor hid evidence. A CPS worker called Mariah's death an accident. Jurors never heard that. In 2022, Texas set Lucio's execution date for April 27. Her lawyers begged for a delay. And the day before her death, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals paused her execution. They ordered a new hearing. Months later, a judge overturned her death sentence, not because she was innocent, but because the jury heard lies. The bite marks evidence was junk science, the confession was unreliable, and Lucio's sentence was changed to life in prison. But the fight isn't over. Her lawyers want her fully exonerated. They say the system failed her, that bias against poor mothers sealed her fate. Others aren't so sure. The original prosecutor stands by the conviction. He says Lucio is where she belongs. Was Melissa Lucio a stressed mother blamed for a tragic accident, or a killer who got away with murder. The courts may never agree, but her story exposes a chilling question. How many others on death row confess to a crime they'd never commit? For now, Lucia waits. Not in a death row cell, but in a regular prison. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. This is a conversation that needs to keep going. Because in Texas, the next name on a death row is already waiting.